Y'all, please get ready. Buckle your seatbelts and come along for this ride, because this one here, you ain't gonna miss, okay? So let's get into following the podcast. If not, you can follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or anywhere that a podcast is available. The Grateful Together podcast. We're ending up on a season of rerouting. So in our previous season, we talked about how God was rerouting us to sling us backwards to move us forward. Now, I'm super excited to be introducing the new season that we are in. And that is going to be the season of the wilderness. Like, see, it's moments like this where I'm just like, you guys can finally see me. But I'm super excited to get into this series. Let me sit up so I can get function. But I'm super excited to get into this. So let's go ahead and get into it. So as you heard in the previous episode, talking about appointed time, expiration dates. And the reason I felt like God is trying to show me something when it comes to expiration dates is because I have recently went to the store and I have not had to deal with expiration dates for a while. Normally I'm pretty good about checking expiration dates, but I know that in the season that I'm in, I'm asking God about a lot of things, and God has told me that the time is up. So I'm here to tell you, the time is up. I don't know what time it's on for that. I don't know what area in your life has ended, but I do know that God has an appointed time for everything. And I know that in order for him to put you in a new season, he has to be able to move you from one season to the next. And that's why I said it in the beginning, that it's really important that you heard that we were ending one season. So we're leaving a season of being rerouted, going backwards to go forward. And in order to go forward, you have to move from that last season. So I'm super excited to get into this episode because I really think that it's going to resonate with a lot of people, not just myself. I'm really praying that's what it does, because that's the purpose of this podcast. I'm super thankful for you guys tuning in and listening. So I hope that you enjoy it. If you do, please share it, like it, subscribe, comment. So let's get into it. So just a little backstory. You guys know me. I'm going to give you a story. So the last couple times that I went to the grocery store, I bought a few items, and probably like 4 items that I bought were expired. And even today, I ended up going back to the store to take back some turtles. And it's so crazy because I looked at it and I was like, I don't know. I don't know. But and then when I ate one, I was like, that tastes kind of funny. But then I was like, you know what? After that first one, I was like, let me check the expiration date. So I looked and I was like, okay, these expired in May. We are in June. And it ain't like the end of May where like you could slide it by and just still get away with it. Like the first week of May. Yeah, it's time to let those go. So I was just like, oh man, because I really was looking forward to eating me some turtles. And to be honest with you guys, I told myself that I'm going to, 1, be more productive, 2, be a good steward over the time that God has given me, be more diligent, and stop procrastinating. I'm not typically a procrastinator, but for some reason in this season, I have just been doing things last minute. So I say, you know what, today I'm going to be proactive. I'm going to do what it is that God's telling me to do. And I'm going to show up for my podcast and be diligent. Do what it is I said I want to do. I've been thinking about doing these live episodes for so long. But when I've had my podcast for a few years now. I would say I started in 2018, I believe. It was right when I came back from Atlanta. So yeah, 2018, the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. And I've been doing it ever since. And I told myself that, this is something that God gave me, an idea. And honestly, it's been doing great. Like recently it's been going up, and I'm just really excited because it's like my older videos, or not videos, but episodes are being played. And I'm really thankful because I'm like, that's where it all started. So for you to start from the beginning and get this, like if you've been with me from day one, if you know, okay? But I'm just super excited because I told myself that, I'm going to start showing up for the things that God has gifted me with. I'm going to be diligent and just being obedient to what he's called me to. And I remember this whole idea. I remember why I do this. I remember what this means to me. And so it's just like for me to be a good steward and to show God that I appreciate the gifts that I have and the talents that I'm able to, you know, use through my podcast, through my apparel store, my old interior designer store, like all the things that God has allowed me to have. I want to be a good steward over those. So I told myself today I'm going to show up, I'm going to do what needs to be done, and that's that. So you guys, I'm sitting there getting my makeup done. Y'all like it? Okay. And I'm like super tired. Like super tired. Out of nowhere tired. Tired like I've been like, I don't know, beating bricks or something. Like I'm just tired. And I'm just like, okay, you know, what is going on? And so I realized, I'm like, it's because I told myself that today I was going to be productive. I was going to record my video, record my podcast. And anytime I get ready to do a podcast, I instantly start yarning. Like, if you know, you know, okay? A lot of my videos, I'm yarning or I get distracted. Like, anything, something comes up, like, all the time that takes my focus away from the podcast. So it's just like, I was telling my sister, I'm like, you know, I'm really tired. Like, I'm tired. I was like, I'm going to go home and I'm going to lay down. And I'm going to take this whole face off. I'm not even going to worry about doing it. I'm doing it next week. And so when I was like, I just can't, I'm tired. So when I left her, you know, I was like, oh, I'm just get some coffee. So long story short, Starbucks was closed, Dunkin' was closed. That was in my area. So I was like, okay, I got turtles at home. I'm just eat some chocolate and then I'll be okay. I need a little boost or whatever. And then I was like, I ate another one. I'm like, these just taste funny. Like, and I checked expiration. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go take my turtles back because I need this energy. I need this sugar. Like, that's why I'm so like hyped up. Like, I need this sugar so that I can do what it is that I need to do. That I said that I was gonna do. I said I was gonna be diligent in my work and I was gonna show up. And that's what I'm doing. You know, it's not perfect, but I'm here. I'm showing up, and I'm just thankful. You know. But as I was going to the store, I was thinking, I'm like, there's got to be something here. Like, this is the third or fourth item that I've gotten that has been expired. God's trying to tell me something. Something has ended. Something is ending. You know, the time for something is here, and I need to get the program. And so I've been just sitting here reflecting on my life in general. You know, just remembering that everything has an appointed time. And I know, like, with friendships and with families, with jobs, with friends, and like, everything has an appointed time. And they also have expiration dates. You know, you can't carry baggage over a lifetime expecting to have the same energy you did when you only have one bag. And if you consistently carry that weight and you walk forth, you're gonna get weighed down. And that's how I felt, you guys. Like, within the last couple of weeks, I just felt bogged down. Like, I felt weighed down, and I couldn't understand where it was coming from. And so I finally took the time out to spend some time with God. And I just started praying. And I was like, you know, what's going on? You know, I don't really know. Like, I have all the things that I've been praying for, you know, and you know, it's really hard, you know, juggling all those things that God has been giving me, and I'm overwhelmed. And I was just like, but God, I can do this, right? I know I can do it, because if I couldn't, you wouldn't have given it to me. You wouldn't allow me to go through all these things to get where I am. So what is really going on? And that's when it hit me like a sack of bricks. Like, girl, God is doing a new thing. You gotta let go of the old. And it reminded me of the verse where it says, you know, God is doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? And when I read the do you not perceive it part, it really stuck out to me, because I'm just like, do you not perceive it? And I had to tell myself, I had to be honest and say, no, I didn't perceive it, because I was walking in the new, still attached to the old. Like, I'm walking ahead, still tugging on something that I should have let go of. And God was constantly reminding me that with my expiration dates, because it's just like, you're still holding on. What are you doing, Jasmine? Like, you're still holding on. I need you to let go. I need you to fully trust me. And instead of me fully trusting him, and instead of me leaning on his word and taking his promises and believing them, I chose to continue to hold on. So now I'm in a point where it's like, you know, okay, God, I'm here and I'm showing up, and I want to be able to, you know, do what it is I said I was going to do, right? Do what it is that God, you've called me to do. And that's hard. Let's be real. It's hard. It's not easy because you only get 24 hours in a day. And most of the day I'm working, I'm taking care of my son, I'm doing homework, I'm doing 20 million, going to class, you know, doing 20 million other things, having 20 million other things on my mind. And it's like to show up today and say, you know what, I'm going to sit here and take time out of my day and be a good steward over my podcast because God gave it to me. And I want to continue to show up for the people that are counting on me to show up, like you. So thank you. But it's just like, it's hard because at some point you feel bogged down. You feel weighed down with whatever it is that you're carrying. And when you feel weighed down, you can be distracted easily. I'm distracted all the time. Like, and then also you can be forgetful. And I talk about a lot of times how I'm forgetful. And I'm like, okay, I was doing this, but because I'm just like here, pulling this, pulling that, pulling here, pulling this, like, because I'm grabbing on so many things around me, I get like overwhelmed. I'm like, okay, what was I doing? Like, what was I doing? Oh, I was here, you know, I was there. And because you're here and here and here and here and here, you lose yourself in the midst of that because you're all around. You're doing 20 million other things when you just need to focus on one thing. So I found that, you know, God had been trying to talk to me and tell me, you know, to let go and just embrace the new walk that I was walking into. And even now, it's hard for me to do that. And I talk about that in the Collateral Beauty episode about how it's been hard for me to just adjust to new. You know, God has been doing so many new things in my life, and I haven't been able to fully receive them. You know, I'm still struggling in that area. However, I know that He wouldn't bring me this far just to leave me. So, I do know that there comes a time where you have to just say, you know what, God, I'm going to trust you and I'm going to let go. And I'm believing that that's a message for you. That it's time to let go. It's time to let go of the way you did things. It's time to let go of the old you. Like, oh my God, I'm struggling so bad with that because, listen, the new, like the new me versus the old me versus the mom me versus the, like, they're 10 different people, okay? Those are like 30 different people. And I've been so busy trying to be that old person where I'm just like, girl, like, get a grip. You're not that person anymore. You're a mom now. You're in school now. You're still working full time. Like, you're juggling a lot. So the old Jasmine is not the Jasmine that shows up today. And you have to also realize that, and I said this before, and I'm laughing now because I wish I would have recorded that then when I was like, you know, if you're not living, you're dying. From quoted by Joan Clayton from Girlfriends. But for real, it's serious. If you're not growing, what are you doing? You're just existing. And I had to ask myself, like, do I just want to be in a world where I'm existing, or do I want to be purposeful? Do I want to actually accomplish the things that God has called me to accomplish? And in order to do that, in order to leave one season and carry over to the next one, you have to know your appointed time. You have to look at your expiration dates. And sometimes it may be a little foggy. Sometimes you may be like, okay, I got a little bit more time here. But when it's time, you'll know. Like, you will know. God will show you and give you signs. We have to just be diligent and patient and be able to mute and turn down the distractions to hear what God is trying to tell us. And sometimes we are so busy in our own minds that we don't really fully hear God, you know, and we have to know that even though letting go is hard, embracing the new is hard, but it'll be worth it in the end. And I think there's so many times, you know, where I've counted something new and I'm just like, okay, Jasmine, you did it before, you can do it again. And I know that trying something new is not easy. You know, it's hard, but it's worth it, right? Like, it's worth it because at the end of the day, if you consistently stay stagnant in a position because you're comfortable there, what are you going to do? Like, you get to a point where you can't be told anything. Are you really growing? Are you challenging yourself? If you're the person in that circle who knows it all, sees it all, can do it with their eyes closed, how are you benefiting? You're not growing. There's no room for you to grow. You're not trying to grow. You're just staying where you are. And you're not blooming where you're planted because you're just planted. You know, you're not thriving there. So I don't know what that looks like for you. And I don't know what it is that God is telling you has an expiration date on it. Maybe you know. And if you don't know, but you feel like this is for you, I encourage you to solely get into God's word and spend time with him and ask him, you know, when is coming to an end? What am I still pulling with me that I need to let go of? You know, sometimes we hold on to things because of fear. We hold on to things because of insecurities. We hold on to things because of the fear of the unknown. Like, there's a million and one reasons why you could be prolonging this expiration date, you know. And it's like almost that like good before, bad after kind of thing. Like, you're like, oh, I got one more day. It's like, no, let it go. You know, don't prolong something, because the more, you have to look at it like this. When you continue to prolong an expiration date, you're being disobedient to God. Because if God said let it go and move on, and you're still entertaining it or holding on to it, whatever it may look like, if you're still holding on to it, that's disobedient. You're walking in disobedience. And you're prolonging the blessing that God has for you. And so in the midst, you're like, oh, I don't know, you know, why this is happening to me, and I don't know what's going on. But at the same time, you also need to steward the last thing God told you to do. And that also reminds me, with that, I have an episode, what are you doing with what God gave you? I think that's the name of it, yeah. What are you doing with what you have? And that's the question you have to ask yourself. You know, what am I doing with the things that God has given me? And did you do the last thing God told you to do? You can't skip around and skip steps. If God told you to do 1, 2, 3, you can't go 1, 3 or 3, 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3 needs to be checked off before you're going to elevate to the next season. And that's why I'm super excited, because we are out of rerouting and we're moving forward to get out of the wilderness. And I know that you may feel stuck, and I know for me, I have been in the wilderness, my God, for some time, you know, and it took me to now to get to know that I have passed my expiration dates. You know, the milk is sour at this point, and I had to take some time and just say, God, what is going on? Like, why can't I catch a break? Why is this taking me out? Like, why are these things happening? And that's when I realized, you know, I was wondering, you know, and just trying to juggle all of these things at once. And God he didn't tell you to carry it all. You don't have to carry it all. And so I really encourage you to get in God's presence and just ask him what it is that you need to let go of, whether that's control, whether that's a friendship, whether that's a relationship, whether that is a job, whether that is your past, whether that is an addiction, whether that is, I don't know, insecurities, fear, whatever that is. You know what that is. I don't know. But God knows too, you know. And I think that it just comes to a point where you have to know that God's word will never come back void. If he said it, it's going to happen. And in order for it to come to pass, you have to be obedient and do what it is that God is asking you to do. And know that even though you may not see it coming into fruition right now, it has an appointed time. And when that time comes, you want to be prepared. I always say you have to prepare for what you're praying for. You can't prepare when it's at your front door. You don't have time to prepare. And you don't want to self-sabotage what God is giving you because you haven't properly prepared. So what are you going to do? Don't get them expiration dates in. You're going to clean house. You know, spring cleaning. I know we passed spring, but, you know, spring cleaning. Like, do a little clean the house. Sweep the floor, you know. Sweep these people out. Sweep whatever it needs to be out so that God can push you into the new season that he's calling you to, and push you out of the rerouting season and put you where you're supposed to be. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, I thank you so much for listening and watching. If you have not heard any of my episodes, I am again available on all platforms. The Grateful Together podcast. I hope to see you next time, and thank you for tuning in. That your gratefulness makes you gorgeous. Bye.